Retirement planning can feel like navigating an unfamiliar road. Lots of turns, a few roadblocks, occasional detours. But that's exactly why every Saturday here on KXNT, we consult Las Vegas' own financial advisor, Jimmy Lin, certified financial planner and founder of Right Path Wealth Management. All right, Jimmy, I don't know about you, but I definitely struggle to get the recommended 10,000 steps every day that they recommend to stay healthy. But I have got some good news on that front if you were in the same boat as me. A recent study found that as little as 7,000 daily steps can promote nearly the same health benefits. So when I saw this news, I got to think of things from a retirement perspective, Jimmy, and it reminded me of trying to calculate just how much savings you're going to need to retire. Some shoot for a magic number they think is out there, like, let's say $1.8 million. Others believe that you should have 70 to 80% of your annual salary. So how do you figure this out for clients, Jimmy, and what factors are you considering here?
Well, Casey, I was really relieved to read that report because I've been trying to get in my steps. I was trying to get in 12,000 steps.
Oh, you're an overachiever.
Yeah, I bought a weight vest, because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. And then I see this and 7,000. I mean, I could do that.
Yeah, you're good.
So that
take a load off, Jimmy.
That was great news. And I love the transition because it's the same thing with retirement, right? We always hear this magic number. We're talking about 1.8 million here. We always hear about $1 million as that magic number. Mm-hmm. And the reality is you can't come up with an arbitrary number. We can't just pull a number out of the wind and figure out that that's what our goal is going to be, because the reality is you're actually setting yourself up for failure if that's what you're doing. What we see all the time is people creating arbitrary numbers and then they end up working too long. Right? They're chasing a number, but they don't have a plan on, what they're going to do with those assets, how they're going to create an income and how much the income they actually need. And so they may be utilizing their healthiest years where they can be enjoying trips and running around with the grandkids, and they're giving it to their employer because they don't really have a plan. So they're working too long. Or on the flip side, we have people that don't know their number and they may be retiring too early. They want to go off to Europe, but they don't realize that they don't have the funds to do those experiences. So it's really important to nail down a number. And it starts with a plan. We talk about it all the time. And it's almost like, beating a dead horse, that you need a plan. Everything starts with a plan. And the reason that is because once you know the income that you need for all the expenses that you have, plus all the fun things that you want to do, then you can back into what that magic number is. But of course, you always have to account for things like taxes, inflation, and having a strategy to preserve your assets. But don't go out there with an arbitrary number. You got to have a plan so that you can have an accurate number.
Yeah, we hear all these big numbers tossed around for retirement, just like we hear those 10,000 steps rule for staying healthy. But sometimes I think, Jimmy, focusing on that huge goal can be overwhelming and it can make somebody freeze up before they even get started. So for somebody who's feeling a little lost or somebody who's just beginning their savings journey, what would you say, Jimmy, is a good 7,000 steps equivalent for retirement planning? Is there a simple, realistic habit or two that can help get folks headed in the right direction, even if their big goal feels out of reach for them?
Sure. You got to start with the basics, right? You got to build that foundation, and the foundation of any type of retirement. I look at kind of three different pillars of foundations. Number one, we talk about it over and over, have an income plan. Understand how much you need first, how much you need for expenses plus all the fun stuff, and then figure out what that amount is going to be. Take the fixed amounts of income that you have, whether it's a pension or Social Security. And generally speaking, we oftentimes see a gap in that income. And so we'll figure out what we need to fill that income, look at the resources that we have, and then make sure that you have a plan that can fund that income and that you can preserve those assets that are going to fund that income. Because if you need an extra $2,000 or $3,000 a month that you're going to be pulling from your 401k, a plan is not just to pick away at that, because if you see a market drop and you're still picking away at that $2,000 or $3,000 a month, now you're locking in losses. So have an income plan, have an asset preservation plan, and then just have an eye on how to be very tax efficient. If you kind of cover those three things, I think that equates to the 7,000 steps. But it does sound daunting, and that's why we always offer, people, if you give us a call and just schedule that complimentary call with us, we can start setting up that framework for you you. So you can, I don't like to use the phrase, but we can set you on the right path, right, to retirement. So give us a call, 702-744-8344. You'll get on my calendar and I'll walk you through that. But that would be the first step to getting those 7,000 steps.
Yeah, we know retirement can sometimes feel like running a marathon, not just trying to get your 10,000 steps a day. So I encourage you to take advantage of this offer. Sit down with Jimmy. You're going to meet with him directly, and he can help you put a plan together that you are going to feel good about. There's no obligation either. It's just a conversation. And that number for you again, 702-744-8344. One more time for you, 702-744-8344. Or if you prefer online, you can head anytime to RightPath.com. WM.com. You are listening to The Right Path to Retirement. I am here with certified financial planner Jimmy Lin. And Jimmy, I've got our little history fact of the day right now. The Social Security Act was signed by President Franklin Roosevelt in August 1935. So Social Security just turned 90 years old last month, but the big question is, will it last another 90 years? If Congress does not act, benefits will be cut by 23% in 2033, which is about $500 a month. So, Jimmy, my question is, how much do your clients depend on Social Security, and how are you helping them make up that loss?
Every single one of my clients relies on Social Security. It is a huge piece of their retirement plan. So it's a scary thought. You're seeing it in the news right now. And that date where the Social Security Trust Fund is going to be running out of money just keeps getting closer and closer. So you do have to plan for it. One thing I would caution people to do, though, is a lot of people want to turn on that Social Security income as soon as they qualify because they're fearful that Social Security is going to be going away. So hopefully Congress acts and they are able to make Social Security solvent and they will be able to fulfill all the obligations that they have. But even if you turned on your Social Security early, if they cut Social Security income, you're just going to get your benefits cut from a smaller base of income. So I think turning it on early is not the plan. Sometimes actually it sounds a little counterintuitive because we're talking about Social Security running out of money, but delaying your Social Security benefit and ideally getting a larger amount could, soften the blow if they do reduce that amount, because at least they're reducing it from a larger benefit. So that's the first thing, is don't go out there and start filing for Social Security just because you think it's going to run out of money. Have a plan in place, right? So we account for all market conditions and all political situations as well. So have your Social Security in place, but don't put all your eggs in one basket. There's ways of creating additional streams of income, creating your own pension. So I really want people to understand that Social Security, it is an issue. We're hopeful that it's going to get resolved. But if it's not, you don't want to rely on the government to fund your entire retirement. So make sure you have a plan where you have other assets that are allocated, that they're going to be available for you if this happens. So you want to make sure that you're preserving some of your assets so that if it's necessary, we can turn on an income stream from some of your other assets to make up for that shortfall. So it's all about planning.
Yeah, well, a lot of people hear that Social Security might get cut and they start to worry if that's going to unravel their entire retirement plan. So, Jimmy, when you're talking with your clients, what kinds of practical steps are you recommending to help them prepare for this? Should they be saving more, or are there some other strategies or tools that you're suggesting to help make up any potential shortfalls?
Well, it never hurts to save more. That's the foundational. And then this is going to be a surprise to everyone listening, but you want to make sure you have that income plan, right? So that income plan incorporates Social Security, but if Social Security gets cut, we need other options. So having a diversified kind of bucket of money available to you is the key. You have your short-term bucket of money that you have access to that you can utilize immediately in the next 1 to 3 years. But you also want a asset preservation strategy, but it's more geared for longer term growth. And if there's something that happens in the market or with Social Security, you can turn on that income stream. So being able to set these things up now, what we talked about often in our past shows is income annuities. And income annuities, based on the interest rates that we have right now, are paying out higher than they did in the past because they're interest rate driven. So if you actually put some funds aside for an income annuity that you may turn on in the future, then you have that option of turning it on. And if Social Security is solvent and there are no cuts, you don't have to turn on that income stream, and you can actually allocate that for long-term growth. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility when you have a plan in place for all different conditions.
You don't want to let the fear of Social Security keep you up at night. Jimmy and his team can help you diversify that retirement income so that you aren't overly reliant on any one single source. So if this sounds like something you need help with, take advantage of Jimmy's offer for you today. 702-744-8344 is the number to dial. And those first 5 callers will receive a complimentary retirement consultation. We are standing by right now to take your call, but you've got to make the first move. That number again, 702-744-8344. That's 702-744-8344, or you can visit rightpathwm.com to learn more. All right, Jimmy, before we go today, I got a fun one for you to end the show. Not sure if you are a Broadway fan or not, but the hit musical Hamilton is celebrating its 10th anniversary. And during this time, it has won 11 Tonys, a Grammy, and a Pulitzer Prize, and has grossed $1 billion worldwide, Jimmy. But some who have seen the show came away a little confused, like comedian Sebastian Maniscalco. Take a listen.
So this thing starts. 10 minutes into Hamilton, I tap my wife. I go, I got no idea what's going on. I couldn't understand it. I didn't even know what Hamilton did. I went to this play to find out why this guy was so fabulous. And you gotta understand something about my wife and I. We are dumb. I'll tap my wife. I go, you know what's going on? She's like, no, you? Nothing. Like, no. Like, we just sit there. Dumb.
He's hysterical, but listening to this clip to me, it got me thinking, don't some people kind of feel the same about retirement planning? Not that we're dumb, but, we're not financial professionals. So how do you slow things down for your clients, Jimmy, and help explain the plot to them?
Well, first of all, I'm a little bit relieved because I am a Broadway fan. I did see Hamilton when it came out. They came to Vegas and there was a huge buzz. And I didn't get it. So I feel a lot better about myself now. I'm not the only one.
Good.
But yeah, with regards to retirement planning, it is no different. Everybody thinks that they should understand everything because, maybe they talk to one of their coworkers or their neighbors and they're talking about this product and that product. But the reality is, I want to make all the listeners out there understand that if you're confused about something, you're not alone. People may talk like they have a strong handle on their retirement, but there are so many moving parts that if you're confused, I can promise you're not alone. That's why our workshops are so popular. We actually lead by education at our firm. I probably do 2 or 3 live events every single month at libraries or dinner seminars, talking about things like taxes, estate planning, general retirement planning, Medicare, because there are so many different components to retirement planning when you talk about income, taxes, investments. The list goes on and on. So I would tell everyone listening out there, or if you're just sitting in your car or in your garage listening to this show, you are not alone. It is not easy to do this. So with our clients, we just start with education. We just make sure that we teach everything at the most basic level, giving them reasons why they should consider different scenarios, and then giving them alternative scenarios as well, so that they have different options. But we lead them to why we believe one is better than the other. But ultimately, everyone has their own knowledge that they want to build up. We work with some of the smartest people in their specific field, but because retirement planning just was not taught in school, they are completely confused. Just like I'd be confused if I was to go into an operating room, right? It's not my field. Mm-hmm. So we lead with education, and anyone listening out there, you're not alone with this, but there are resources out there. So I definitely encourage everyone to kind of try to educate themselves, because you only do have one retirement.
That's right. We know that retirement planning can be confusing. We know it can feel overwhelming. And that is why we preach that incorporating the help of a professional to help guide you through that journey. So let Jimmy and his team at Right Path Wealth Management be that guide for you, that companion to walk the retirement road with. 702-744-8344 is what you need to dial. You aren't signing up for anything. You aren't committing to anything today. We are just getting you on the calendar for a complimentary consultation with a professional. 702-744-8344. 8344. Or, of course, we are online anytime at rightpathwm.com. And from there, it's got all the resources that you need to get connected. That is going to do it for us this week. We will be back next week, same time, same place, with more great insight from certified financial planner Jimmy Lin here on The Right Path to Retirement. Take care.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Right Path Wealth Management. Right Path Wealth Management is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Right Path Wealth Management are not subject to investment advisory requirements. Investing involves risk, including potential loss of principal. Any reference to the protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing carrier. This radio podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It's not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decision, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Right Path Wealth Management is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Right Path Wealth Management.
Market Guard is a firm that provides investment signals as well as portfolio allocation recommendations, wide variety of model portfolios. Market Guard does not offer advice or enter into fiduciary relationships.